Hi, good morning. In this lecture video, we are going to discuss about one of the interesting topic on chunking in human-machine interface. How the chunking helps the human-machine interface to process their work. First, we will discuss about the understanding the user needs for the topic of chunking. The first user need is the users often struggle to process large amount of information presented at once, leading to cognitive overload and poor decision making. In many digital interfaces, the information is presented in dense and unstructured format, making it difficult for users to navigate and interpret content efficiently. When the information exceeds the limit, it becomes difficult to process unless it was broken into smaller chunks. Many modern systems often handle large data sets of instruction, which can overwhelm users if it was not properly structured. Before going to the concept chunking, first we have to understand what is the working memory. Since human machine interface works like a human brain, our human brain will works like a RAM in a computer. It determines how much of information we can process at once. Um, uh, it was uh, it was evident in the literature. Our human brain can able to hold up approximately seven separate items in working memory simultaneously. What was the challenge in our human brain is when the information exceeds their capacity, our brain struggles to process and retain it efficiently. Let's come to our memory test. The first challenge is try to memorize the seven-digit numbers such as 7153629. We can, if you recall the seven-digit number, we can easily to remember. But harder challenge is try to memorize the 12-digit numbers such as 417883591845. It was difficult to remember the 12 digits number. The difference between the first challenge and the first challenge is the most people struggle with their longer sequence because it exceeds the working memory capacity. In order to overcome the challenge in the memory, the chunking was used. How the chunking works means the first it works like pattern recognition. Chunking is the appreciation that when the learning mass of information, we don't remember all the pieces, just the pattern. Next, the memory access through the pattern recognition. Once the pattern is identified, it allows us to access permanent memory to access the constitution parts. Next, it is a simple process. It is the checking is the process of assembling a jigsaw puzzle. From the pattern, we can build a complete structure. Next, how the chunking work means the first is identifying the patterns, recognize relations between the pieces of information, grouping information, organize related items into meaningful chunks. The next, from the patterns, the connections between the first part and second part will be made. Next, uh, let us consider the harder challenge. We have already seen if you memorize the 12 digit number in chunking, the 12 digit number was divided into four groups as a 3 digit number. If we group the 12 digits into four chunks of three, it will be very easier to remember. Instead of processing 12 individual items, we are now processing for just for meaningful groups. Next, we will consider the example for the chunking. Teaching is the best example for the chunking because the problem in the teaching was many textbooks provide knowledge and principles without connecting the pieces together. The missing link was the knowledge delivered without functional connections makes the students unable to see the complete picture. Um, how to overcome the challenges in the teaching was the reasoning helps in the overcome the challenges in the teaching. The reasoning helps in recognizing the connection between the pieces. Next, the reasoning when you identify the patterns, the assembly of chunks will be take place. Next, from the assembling chunks, the complete from the complete patterns enable for the knowledge use. From the knowledge use, the student can encounter new knowledge and concepts. Next, the steps involved in the applications of teaching are the first group related concepts. Present information in clusters of 3 to 4 letter items rather than the list of individual effects. After grouping, the connections will be displayed, in which how pieces of knowledge related to each other from form larger patterns. The next build progressively with the help of chunks. The connections will be made. Next, after the connection made, the reasoning will be take place, which helps students develop reasoning skills needed to assemble the knowledge chunks and independently. Next, coming to the conclusion, uh, most people can hold 7 items in working memory simultaneously. Where if you exist the memory capacity, it was difficult for the human brain to remember. To overcome the challenge, the chunking was used, which really focus on the recognizing the patterns rather than memorizing the individual elements. The next teaching strategy is the best example for the chunking. Effective teaching provides both the pieces and means to assemble them into the meaning works. These are the reference I have collected for the topic of chunking. This is the mind map. In this topic, we have seen what is understanding of working memory, what is chunking, how works. This example for the chunking, and finally conclusion. Thank you.